Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever it is for you, whenever you're listening to this, welcome to the show. My name is Tim, and we are the Investing Bros. We got a lot to talk about today, lots of charts to cover. We do have some breaking news as well. We'll be talking about CPI data and what that means, but things are going down pretty severely. Right now, and we're going to talk about what that means for you and your crypto holdings. I want to start off before we get into this. I'm going to introduce T-Shroom here in a second. I did some of my biggest brain thinking this afternoon. I don't know if it's going to be significant or not. I don't even know if people are going to care, but I'm proud of myself. I might talk about it a little bit in this show. Might save it and tease it because there's going to be some content coming out about that big brain thinking. But I'm exhausted. I don't know if you guys could tell from my intro. I'm very exhausted right now from all the thinking that I don't do that often. And that's what I'm worried about. Big brain thinking for me, what does that mean for other people? I don't know. But speaking of other big brains, T-Shroom, how are you doing today?
Bigger in brain mass than I deserve. And I will say
Good.
that. And I will also say the quote of the day, which is this. I fear the day technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. Do you think I'm one of those idiots, Tim?
I think that day has come.
Yeah.
And we're living in it.
Albert Einstein, by the way, is the quote, is the individual who said that.
Yeah, Albert's a good guy. He's talking about big brain. I mean, I didn't even know that the quote was going to be Albert Einstein. So you want to talk about big brain? I'm sure what I worked on this afternoon, Albert Einstein probably could have thought through in about 10 minutes, and it took me probably 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. Did you use ChatGPT and its
not at all
mathematical calculation capabilities?
I did a lot of math. I'll tell you that. A lot of algebra, arithmetic as well.
You did some algebra?
Well, the truth is algebra, there's really complicated forms of algebra and there's really simple forms of algebra. I probably was working with the more simple forms of algebra. But a lot of historical data, research, plugging it together, has used charts. So like comparing, contrasting charts, history, what was supply looking like, what's price looking like, then, corresponding it. I feel like if anyone ever watches Always Sunny in Philadelphia, legitimately the scene where Charlie is trying to figure out what's happening with the mail and the workers, and there's the chaos behind him. That's how I felt like my entire afternoon looked. But you want to talk about chaos, and we're going to talk about crypto, everybody, but we're getting into the show, welcoming people in, giving you guys some time. How about that morning news update where people got to see a little bit behind the scenes of what it looks like to work with Tim's camera?
Yeah, we don't know how it may have fixed by now. I tried to fix it, but YouTube it takes a while for it to fix.
Yeah.
So chances are it's probably no longer available, those behind the scene moments. But yes, I accidentally included some camera readjusting that shouldn't have been in there. But luckily, we didn't say anything silly. And there wasn't anything like crazy on the
wish.
screen.
There's a part of me now that in our pre-meetings, just in case it's secretly recording me.
Yeah, you're just going to drop a bunch of H-bombs.
Silly things. Yeah.
H and D bombs. Well, anyway, we do have some relatively breaking news here. It kind of came out this morning after our morning show. But Tim, let's go ahead and slide into it, and then we'll continue with our regularly scheduled programming. But Genesis Crypto Broker has halted their withdrawals. I don't know who's still using Genesis, but here we go. The development occurred after the court approved a $175 million settlement between Genesis and bankrupt crypto platform FTX. Maybe you've heard of it. The crypto firm announced it would be ceasing its crypto trading business in September. Indeed, the platform announced an end to its digital asset trading offerings after reaching an agreement with the Digital Currency Group, DCG, regarding recovery payments and its ongoing bankruptcy proceedings. There's a few more details here. This was released in a tweet this morning, the news, from none other than Watcher.guru.
In September,
Yeah, well, absolutely. In September, the company announced that it would be discontinuing its crypto trading offering in a decision made for business reasons. According to a statement, now the decision to halt withdrawals arrived just a day after a court-approved $175 million settlement between the FTX and Genesis. Moreover, Genesis had called the plan fair and equitable as FTX creditors had sought to contest the proposed plan. Conversely, FTX debtors had claims totaling more than $3 billion in May of this year, with a plethora, a smattering of those expunged. So, pretty big news. I mean, if you are on Genesis, you may be panicking right now. You
also might not have read the news in like a year.
It's possible.
This was pretty forecasted. I mean, I don't know if I knew. I don't know if I personally knew it was going to be October 12th, but for a while, Genesis has been kind of talking about this. So, also, Crypto Trade says, "Look at Tim giggling." I'm giggling. So I'm in an office. There's 3 other people in this office with me, and someone who did not know I was live walked in and started talking. So I muted myself. I don't know if you heard them, but I'm laughing because that was a whole ordeal.
I thought you were laughing because you secretly planned this withdrawal halt with Genesis.
You're right.
And I was about to be upset.
Yeah, my story was a cover-up for that being the real reason that I think it's hilarious. No, I mean, it's not hilarious. But again, I'm hoping. I mean, if you still had money in Genesis, put a 1 in chat. I don't think we're going to see any 1s. I don't think that many people still had money there who pay attention. I think you're going to see a lot of people who probably dipped out about a year ago, just saying crypto's depressing. I'll come back in when it gets, higher. They might still have money in Genesis, and so that's why it pays to continue to pay attention during a bear market. But I don't think anyone who watches our show regularly would still have money in. Even though it's not like we talk about it every single day, we just have discussed this, and it's not like crazy news.
Yeah,
Amello Fellow says he still had money in Genesis. I don't know if that's genuine or not. I think Amello Fellow might be one of the liars in chat. So is Mike Lowry. Mike Lowry is a known liar. That I do know.
Yeah.
Well,
I texted Tim before the show. I said, "There's really not much other than SBF and the CPI number print to talk about today on the show." The truth is, there's a lot going on in crypto, just not today. We do have some. I have branched out into some TradFi, mostly like American politics stuff that is relevant, and that we'll talk about in the quote of the day. Not the quote of the day. The factoid elf has revealed to me that it is on theme. So the theme is going to be a little bit less crypto, a little bit more American politics. But hey, what can you do? This is the Investing Bros, and we like to have a good time. So that's what it is.
Yeah, well, this isn't breaking news. We just weren't able to cover it on the morning show. And we're going to get into TA here in just a second, everybody. But the inflation numbers coming out this morning. And I had a little bit, I posted this on Twitter this morning. I got a little bit of what the older generation would call lip over on Twitter, T-Shroom. I don't know how you feel about getting lip.
A little back talk
from people. Yeah, a little bit of people testing. So I posted this. I said inflation year over year came in at the inflation rate year over year came in at 3.7, just as expected. Well, somebody decided, they said, "Oh, make sure you do your research first before you post on X."
Sinister.
That was pretty lippy, I think, T-Shroom. I don't know what you would take that as, but guys, so consensus. I saw a lot of people saying 3.6% was the expectation. You can make an argument for both of them, but forecast is expectation. Consensus is kind of some people kind of giving their rough opinion, but forecast is really what we're looking at when we talk about what is the world expecting. Yeah, I like to pay attention to consensus, but forecast is expectation. So I had to deal with some people over on Twitter. And if you're watching, I love you. Just watch the lip. That's not something to go throw around. Especially if you didn't do your research on me not doing my research.
Yeah.
You gotta assume things. There was somebody else, T-Shirt, that did correct me, and this lip was good lip. I appreciate this lip. He said, "Please make sure you talk about, when you're talking about the Fed rate tool, nobody votes here." And I'm like, "You're right. That's right. I keep saying people vote. There's no vote. People don't vote. That's something that actually happens within the Fed. But this is just people giving their expectation of a prediction. So for anyone who has been majorly, I also feel like I'm in a silly mood today after all my big brain stuff. So bear with us, guys. Good TA coming, but we're having fun. If you've ever been completely just off-put by me talking about people voting within the CME group, then I deeply apologize to you, because that is misinformation at its finest. So I do appreciate that lip I received today. I will, from here on out, never again talk about CME Future Group voting. I will say that they predict, and that prediction is still heavily sitting, even after all this nonsense, pretty close to 90%. We're going to get a pause here in November. So That's what it is. That's what it is. Let's look at CoinMarketCap really quickly, and then we will jump into some charts. Of course, Bitcoin Fear and Greed. They always say 40. It's always a lower number on CoinMarketCap. I like the other one that says 45, but it's there as well. Still a lot of red today. And again, I told you guys, just as we predicted yesterday in the live show, Bitcoin had a rough day yesterday. I told you guys I thought altcoins would be the ones kind of having a little bit of a spill today. That turned out to be a very good prediction made by the investing bros. A lot of red. In fact, no green until you get all the way to 18. Shiba Inu is up almost 1%. So how about that? Chainlink down 2%, getting a little bit closer, a little closer. I think we're definitely going to go sub $7 on Chainlink. I'm wondering if we go sub $6. Let's take a look at big gainers and losers. There was one really big gainer. Yeah, and it continues. Loom Network. T-Shroom, do you know much about Loom Network?
No, nothing at all.
No, I don't know much about them all. They're 94th. I'm pretty sure they just swooped into 94th spot on the news that they are up 31% today in the last 24 hours, up 62% in the last 7 days. So there's a coin kind of coming, while everything else seems to be dipping right now. Loom Network exploding. I was going to say put a 1 in chat if you bought Loom Network, but then I know Mike Lowry is going to put a 1 in chat, and we know Mike Lowry did not buy Loom Network. In fact, now I'm wondering if he did, and then we'll never trust him ever again because he's a known liar. Frax is also up 5.7%. Gala up 3.4%. Philcon is up 2.42%. Kronos, yeah, okay, not a lot of green. We're in a very red day, but nothing's that bad. Thorchain's the worst, just below 9% down, and then you got Optimism down 5.2%. So those are some bigger losers, but a lot of them hovering below 4% that are in the bigger losers like AVAX, and so Adams there, Chili's, Solana down almost 3%. So red, but not necessarily too crazy red. What happened?
Have you seen the Dixie today?
Well, let's go look at it. Let's go take some charts, guys. It is time for charts. But before we do the charts, we are going to look at the Dixie. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at Ethereum. Again, I did some big brain moves. I'm going to tell you right now, it has a lot to do with Ethereum over Bitcoin chart. This chart right here, this is a fun chart to break down. I don't know when exactly you guys are going to get my full take.
Looks like the bat
pattern. This chart has got a lot going on, and my brain worked on it pretty hard today. Okay. We're going to look at the Dixie chart as well. Let's take a quick look at Dixie, and then we're going to get our
factoid
trivia elf. Dixie climbing. Yep. Well, that's probably part of the reason why we're so red right now is the Dixie's up. Dixie's very green right now. We'll break that down a little more here in just a second. T-Shroom, though, let's go to that elf's question of the day. And as long as it's not a trick question, he still has not beaten me in well over a week.
Okay, here we go. I am excited for this one.
Yep.
Which nation is a direct democracy? Is it the United States? Is it Switzerland? Is it New Zealand? Or is it Chile? Which nation is a direct democracy?
I actually don't know, but I am going to prioritize saying that the less population, the easier it would be to do. But I don't know at this point.
So now it's which country has what population?
I don't think it's the United States or Switzerland.
Okay.
So it's New Zealand or Chile for me. And I have a hard time believing that South America has that. So I think for some crazy reason, it might be New Zealand. But I don't know. Gia says B, but Mike says C. That really makes me doubt myself because I went with C.
Got him. That's mean.
And I really do trust Gia. So maybe I don't feel like it's Switzerland, yet that's what both Gia and Matt C think. So I'm going to go with Mike, sometimes a clock is right twice a day. Liars can tell the truth from time to time. I'm sticking with Mike. We're going with C, New Zealand.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at the Dixie.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Okay. Sorry, I thought you were looking at something.
Oh, man.
Goodness gracious.
Tim got hit with the silly stick today.
I need to definitely, Mike, I love you. I love liars. And I love Mike.
Yeah, we're
gonna only feature, lie about the 1%.
We're gonna be featuring some liars a little bit later in the Q&A, right before the Q&A session. We got some crazy headlines.
He is right. Mike did say Gia has lied before, and we love Gia a lot. But he is right. I have seen Gia put 1 in chat when I've asked, for people to put a 1 in chat if it was their first time watching, and she did it.
She also has a terrible broker. She has a human broker in 2023.
So
sorry, okay. Gia. I don't mean to.
All right, guys. Yeah, let's talk charts. I don't know why. I don't know why I feel so silly today, but it is definitely a silly day. Let's talk Dixie. Dixie coming down and bouncing off the mid levels of the oscillators pretty nicely, matching up with a green MVP oscillator as well. Now, the money flow is curving still to the downside. That is curious. I wonder if the 4 hour is starting to kind of move to the upside. We're already kind of getting overextended on the 4 hour chart here with the RSI. But yeah, money flow on the 4 hour definitely moving to the upside. We did not get buy signals here on the 4 hour, so we're mostly kind of listening to the daily on that one when it comes to MVP oscillator. But money flow good. Got some room to run for sure when we're looking at these oscillators. Let's take those down. Breaking through, coming and finding support. There we go. That's the strong support right there. Look at this, just riding on the 4 hour dynamic reactor, finding that support, turning it to the upside. Do not be surprised to see us probably get back up towards 106, towards 107. Have we hit one? No, we have not officially gotten above 106. You guys know this is my level. 107.62 is kind of where I've been watching for the Dixie to get to. Looks like we're making another move that direction. Of course, the reason I'm watching that price is that was the price we got to back after we started a really good dip. We rallied back up, hit that as resistance back here in November of 2022. That's my kind of target in that area of saying, hey, I think we also looked at Fibonacci and saying that, in that area, that's a pretty significant Fibonacci area for where price action has been. What were we looking at? Because that's not it right there. Not sure. Maybe it was Fibonacci extension. I don't know, because we rejected off the 0.5. Am I on log or anything? I don't know. If we beat that out, golden pocket coming in at 108.80, that could be something interesting if we don't get rejected at 107. And I do think there's a chance that we see the dollar begin to climb a little more as there's a lot of unrest. I think people maybe potentially taking money out of stocks. We'll have to wait and see how that one works in the short term. I do think long term this is going to continue to move to the downside, but it's going to have to wait and be patient for that a little bit. Bitcoin, not really, it is down on the day. So, after bouncing down yesterday to 2650 and then kind of shooting back up to end the day, we're kind of hovering right now. Have not gone lower than we were yesterday. That means Bitcoin's just kind of camping out, not doing a whole lot. Daily chart, we're seeing a little bit of a green histogram coming in on that MVP oscillator, but I don't think that's going to trigger a real buy. I think it's more of a hesitation. The chart prime oscillator is hovering at the mid level, but RSI has dropped below it. I do think we're moving to the downside. Money flow keeling over on that daily chart as we speak. Let's take a look at 4 hour chart. Definitely overextended. So that kind of backs up what I was saying about the daily chart, kind of just hovering sideways. Mostly because, we're getting some buy signals here on 4 hour, but look at this. Price doesn't really respect it. We're getting the green histograms on MVP. The money flow still in a place where you can't even see what it really wants to do. We're overextended, getting bullish divergences, and yet price just continues to just move sideways and slightly to the downside here on the 4 hour chart. Not bullish, ignoring a reversal signal. That's never a good thing. If you're wanting to buy, that is, and you want the price to go up. If you're shorting the market, you're loving this right now. So I would almost say continue doing what you're doing. You guys can see here, after breaking that 4 hour dynamic reactor, we quickly retested it, turned it into resistance, and now we're kind of riding the green support band once again here on the 4 hour chart. So not what the bulls are looking for. And, one of the questions we almost titled the video, do we think at this point this right shoulder has been confirmed? I do think it's a little early, but that curling over and now breaking of that structure, that to me is something that's pretty heavy T-shirt that people should absolutely be thinking about when they're trying to make predictions on what's going to happen over the next couple of days and weeks. This keel over and breaking of a rising level support, we have not officially set a lower high just yet when we're talking about trends since September 11th. So that's something that I'm going to throw it out there and keep, an open mind. But it very much looks like it's only a matter of time before we come back down to that $26,000 level, maybe hover and break on that, maybe a small bounce there where, we could easily see this, guys. We could easily see kind of price hover right here, come down to 26,000, maybe make a bounce back up here towards 27 even. I don't know if we're going to go that high or not, but I'm saying that would still be a lower high and then we see something like this where we finally come down, break it. It's going to be a lot faster than this. You're going to see on the date that puts us like all the way in December. My point is, it's not going to be a straight drop like this. It's not going to be a straight drop to 25 and then keep going down. There's going to be some choppiness where we bounce, set some lower highs, lower lows, and we move our trend to the downside. I don't know exactly how that's going to look though. That part is hard to predict with a lot of certainty. Yeah, that's what we're seeing here on Bitcoin. What time is it? We got 3:21. So let's look at some other charts here. Bitcoin dominance took a little bit of a spill yesterday on the 4-hour chart, as we talked about yesterday, but it's starting to pick back up. Let's take a look. Yeah, we got some MVP oscillators just screaming at us to buy. You guys can see, despite the fact, let's look at this, guys. Very small time frame Fibonacci, but we are already, since yesterday's peak, and then we came down and dipped all the way back up 50% of the losses that we made, and yet the oscillators have barely moved. What does that say to me? That says very bullish signs. That means that I do think that we're going to see the dominance continue to the upside there on the 4-hour chart in a shorter time frame. Now, I'm going to tease a little bit of my big brain stuff, and I will say, DZ's not in the room, so no one's allowed to tell him this. I'm pretty close to saying I think DZ's going to be right about our bet.
Uh-oh.
Don't tell him. Do not tell him. I'm still holding off in case I'm wrong here, because I could be wrong. I don't think that we're going to see Bitcoin get back to 60%. In fact, I'm pretty stinking positive at this point. Best case scenario, we're getting right back here at about 57.31.
But so you think that the altcoins are going to be able to keep their distance from here all the way through the bull market?
No. Well, I'm just saying I think the big surge that's going to come where we do see Bitcoin, there'll be a little bit of Bitcoin gaining some during big dips, and then early in the bull market when especially a lot of money is flowing in from institutions into Bitcoin and not necessarily trickling into the altcoins. Remember, there's about a month to 2 month gap between explosive price action in Bitcoin and then the rest of the altcoin space. If you go back and look through all of this stuff, Matt C saying he warned me. Listen, Matt, I know. And that's why I told you I did my big brain thinking. I had to start thinking like Matt C, and now I've seen the light. There's still an outside chance. I will say there's still an outside chance 60% happens, not 73. That's some of the stuff I was doing today, and I'm not going to say what I was doing, but some of you might be able to start piecing it together in your brain. That part of my research was definitely talking about why we're not going to get back to 73%. Some of you might know what that is referring to, who might have said that. But what I'm looking at, I still believe we're seeing an uptick in the dominance. But guys, the Bitcoin dominance chart talks about market caps. That's it, not price action. So I was talking a lot about this. I think that there's a decent chance that 60% is going to be hard to get to. If 57 is going to be about it. There's just so much love just spread around in the crypto space and a lot of things happening that are very, very interesting. But again, I'm going to have to hold off on that one, guys. Before I go too deep down my rabbit trail of what I talked about and did research about today and kind of formulating some concepts, I'm going to hold off. My thought, though, at this point, 57 is what we're going to see on TradingView. Matt C, that would be about 55 point something on coin market cap, in case that's what you're looking at, because I see you say 52 to 55. But historically, 4-year cycles, where we are, what's going to happen from an economic standpoint, Bitcoin dominance is going to go higher, guys. That I'm very sure of. Nothing's 100%, and I told you guys yesterday, I'm never going to say for sure thing, 100%. I'm not going to say it's a done deal, but it's very, very likely Bitcoin dominance is not done climbing. You even take a look at the oscillators. Again, we talked about this yesterday, but the just ignoring of bearish indicators on the daily chart. Have we gotten any bearish indicators recently on the weekly chart? The last one we had, I do think we kind of respected here, but you guys will notice this is a very bullish pattern. What is that bullish pattern here? Let's take a look. Look at these RSI bottoms that keep getting lower and lower and lower, but then we correspond them to the lows. They keep getting higher. What do we call that, T-Shroom? Divergence. That's divergence. Bullish divergence in this case. The dominance is going to the upside, guys. That is, in fact, happening. Let's see. We're going to do some TA during Q&A. It's 3:25. I might go ahead and pause right now. I do have some thoughts on other coins, but I'm going to wait for you guys to ask for them. The biggest ones we need to know about, though, altcoins going down, Bitcoin dominance going up, Dixie going up, Bitcoin kind of hovering for today, but bigger losses are coming in the near future. In my personal humble opinion, that's where I'm at. Let's go ahead and open up. Go back to BroCam here, T of Shroom. Let's get our answer to our trivia question, and then let's get into some chat engagement with the folks, the fine folks over here in chat.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, the answer to our question is B, Switzerland. I've got it here. There's only a couple of countries, and it's very small. It's Liechtenstein and Switzerland. The United States is listed, but obviously nationally it's not a direct democracy. But there are a few cities. It says in the New England region of the United States, towns and states such as Vermont decide local affairs through direct democracies, which is why the United States is listed. Yeah, so that doesn't count. Direct democracies was not what the framers of the United States Constitution envisioned for the nation. They saw a danger in tyranny of the majority. As a result, they advocated a representative democracy in the form of constitutional republic over a direct democracy. So you can learn more about that in the Federalist number 10. Tim, how could you think that you could be so wrong?
I was wrong, and I apologize deeply.
New Zealand.
I knew it wasn't United States. And again, I didn't think it was Chile. I didn't think it was Switzerland, though, either. That's why I went with New Zealand. But I honestly didn't know this. This was a good question. The elf definitely got me out of my comfort zone of knowledge. So,
yep.
I do tap my tip my hat to him, even though I'm not wearing one today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's actually it's a direct democracy, but it's actually a confederation. Switzerland is. So it's. I don't think they're anyway. It gets complicated, but ultimately we have a right answer, and it slips nicely into our stories, which we can get to before or after we talk to chat.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I do owe an apology to Gia S. She's right. She tried to lead me in the right direction. I chose to go down the path with liar Mike Lowry, known liar, and I should have known better. So, Gia, I do apologize. And you were right. Like always, you were right. We have a couple questions here. Until now, ETH Bitcoin has bottomed at the 786 fib. This is P9 wants me to take a look at the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart. By the way, guys, that's where I spent a lot of my afternoon. So I would love to go take a look over there. I'm not going to tell you everything I'm thinking, but I'll tell you some things that I'm thinking. Oh, you want to do it now? I was going to read. Yeah, we'll do it now. There's some other questions in here. I just want to make sure I read them so people are aware that I read them. And I haven't missed a super chat, by the way, either, because there have been none, which is okay. That's okay. But I don't ever want to miss one ever again. Big mistake.
Big brain, big mistakes.
You don't do it anymore. That's my new motto. Let's see. Bitcoin dominance on resistance, EMA 200 weekly 2 times now. Okay, good to know. All right, we're going to read this question. I'm sure there's others. Take a look out for me, T-Shroom. Make sure we don't miss anything. Let's talk about Bitcoin or Ethereum over Bitcoin chart. Now, why is this so significant today? I actually did a little bit of TA over on Discover Crypto this morning, where this was one of the main topics. Also, one of the reasons why I spent a lot this afternoon looking more into this, because it's a really interesting concept of stuff coming out. We're in a falling wedge pattern here. I got to clean this line up just a little bit. Falling wedge pattern here, where there's some little debate about what is happening. I don't know if that debate's really over. It looks like we're absolutely losing the support level here of this falling wedge. You guys know we talked about this falling wedge before. I kind of assumed we were going to get that support, maybe bounce back up. There's some research I've done today. This one I don't feel bad about telling you. I'll definitely do my TA for you guys. There's some things that I want to correct about some other people's TA. But this falling wedge pattern looks a whole lot, actually. There's some differences, obviously, but this time-wise in a 4-year cycle and what we might see happening is very similar to what happened back in 2019. Let's go back to this time period back here. This actually was at the bottom of this whole cycle of the Ethereum over Bitcoin before we made a move back to the upside. You guys can see, once again, falling wedge pattern that started out back here in September of 18. September 18? Yeah, September 18. Ended up breaking out all the way in February, but there was a period right here where between August and September, we broke bearish below the support level. And I'm sure if you were if someone was charting this back here, they might have been convinced, there we go, we're going further to the downside. We've lost it. We even came back up and rejected off of that support level again. And we spent 2 months below, but we ended up popping back up in, moving to the upside. This is a very long-term fake out. Like, we look at these wicks, those are like daily fake outs, right? We had wicks that broke above the resistance. That's a fake out, but it's not really one that anyone would trade seriously. This one, probably a lot of people were very significantly expecting a massive crash in Ethereum over Bitcoin, because not only did it break it, we stayed 2 months below it and used that former support as resistance. But like I said, we ended up popping back up, moving back in. Well, guys, we've kind of talked about this. I said I think that we're going to see Bitcoin dominance move to the upside. I think we're going to see Bitcoin price, even if it moves down, other coins and other altcoins move lower in comparison. Don't be surprised. What we're seeing happen right now is we've broken this support. We've come back up, pretty much tested, use it as resistance. Depending on where you draw this line, I would even say, like, yeah, if I allow some unclean touches there to get this touch in June, you would make the argument we rejected perfectly right off of that line. And I think that we're going to be heading down. And I think the worst we could get to, I think reality, this is what I'm kind of watching for. I am watching for somewhere in, I didn't grab my T-box. I'm watching for somewhere in the 0.053 range down to maybe a touching of the same level back in June of 23, down to about right below 5, around 0.049, give or take. So let's go ahead and just draw this box here. Going to keep my eyes on this zone for sure. There's some other people out there predicting a lot lower crash could come. And this, of course, corresponds, if we're going to spend here talking about Ethereum. Guys, Ethereum itself broke below support. Remember, we've been talking about this formation, the ascending triangle that traditionally breaks the upside. But I told you guys I was pretty sure that we were going to see this support level lost. Well, that has happened. And if I move to smaller charts, smaller time frames, I want to see probably another pullback up, honestly, guys, and see another rejection. But technically on the 4-hour chart, we did drop below it. You guys see fake out, move back up, but then this is a real breakout, came back up, treated that support level as resistance, and now we're making our way back down. Very interesting to see this happen. Let's see, P9, who brought this to our attention, said breaking falling wedge down equals possible manipulation. I agree that there's manipulation in the space. Ethereum would be one there could be manipulation. There definitely is institutional money in Ethereum that would allow for a slight. The heavy manipulation, in my opinion, is going to be happening in Bitcoin. And if there's enough manipulation that happens in Bitcoin, it could shake the faith of retail investors in other altcoins. And I think that is going to happen. But look out for a heavy manipulation to really go happening in Bitcoin's price. And then we'll see ripple effects of that manipulation that actually affect altcoins. So that's where we're sitting here with Ethereum. Good question and good suggestion there, P9, to take a look there. Let's see. Yeah, Brian D's name is gone. He said, if I was smart, I could figure out how I deleted Brian D in my profile. Well, join the club, Brian.
Google it.
We can't read. We do have our big brain moments, though.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Matt C makes a good point. And his question is not a question, it's rather a statement. And his statement is smash the like. I heavily agree. Heavily agree. Let's see.
We've got some strong words in the chat.
What's the strong words? Maybe I'm not seeing them.
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael Jackson spicing it up here on a Thursday afternoon. Said, you nerds need to shut the freak up about your charts.
Ooh.
Buddy,
Freaking
SEC is pressing the button tomorrow. And then he said before, what time is the SEC pumping BTC at tomorrow?
Oh, so, did his comment get deleted? Because I don't see the fun one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't say the words, but he just says the acronym. It sounds like he's either got some kind of shtick that he likes to enter the chat with, or he has some kind of insider information on the SEC tomorrow. Or there's a major headline that we overlooked about the SEC doing something tomorrow. There is. It is not something we overlooked, but we're just waiting to get to that story. Actually, I know what he's talking about now.
Yeah, well, let's do it because he brings it up. By the way, welcome, Michael Jackson. We are so glad to have you here. Yeah. Our only caveat is don't use lip. We talked about that earlier in the show. Be respectful to all parties, including the ones on screen and off screen.
Yes.
But we are so glad you're here, Michael. T-Shirt, what is that news? What is pumping Bitcoin tomorrow?
Yes. And we only do things on this channel when people use strong language and curse words to try to encourage us to do that. That's the only way that we'll budge. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Moving along here, you can see I've got a little meme pulled up here for you. Ha ha ha. But here's the news. Bitcoin ETF approval inches close. SEC to decide on October 13th. So that is tomorrow. They are going to decide whether or not Grayscale, or whether or not to appeal the Grayscale decision. So the SEC has to decide on October 13th whether to appeal a court ruling that found its denial of a spot Bitcoin ETF arbitrary and capricious, if I do say so myself. If the SEC does not appeal, it is likely that Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust will be converted into a spot Bitcoin ETF, which is not according to the plan for BlackRock. And Gary is going to have hell to pay that he couldn't get this figured out. So Michael Jackson, which is it's a good name. That's a good name. Michael Jackson has
It just sounds like a weird accent.
Yeah, Michael
Jackson. Michael Jackson.
I'm from Switzerland, where we have democracy. Anyway,
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. But yeah. So I have no idea if the SEC is going to appeal it tomorrow. If they've got the whole day to do it, I guess. But I would imagine that Bitcoin spot would move on that.
If there's one thing we know about the SEC and Gary Gensler,
they love
where there's
appeal.
a will, where there's a will, there's a way, and the will is to appeal.
They love a good appeal. They waited it to the last moment.
Yeah.
Now, how significant do you think this could be, though? Do you think we see a 3 or 5% pullback tomorrow, or is this going to barely nudge anything? I don't know why anybody's in the market to hold because of the chance.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's going to have like almost no impact whatsoever. To be honest with you, again, I told you, I think sideways, continual downward action, and again, there's going to be little spikes. So maybe, okay, so this is kind of how this stuff will happen. There will be some people like Michael Jackson who's convinced that it's going to pump the price. They're going to allow it. It's going to happen. It's good, and they'll get very excited, and the price will pump a little, and then they'll appeal a little lay, and they'll do whatever, and then price will be like, wait, what the heck is going on? Let's just go ahead and put this out here, guys. We will definitely keep you updated if the timeline moves up, but spot ETFs are not happening till best case scenario December. Realistic timeline January to February.
But I mean, with this story though, this is an interesting story because it's not like
it's not. Well, we talked about this story earlier this week. We have known that this date has been on people's calendars. Here's the thing. Here's why you know they're going to appeal and it's not going to happen.
Wow.
Because the deadline was tomorrow. They could at any moment have decided that they're going to do it. Why would Gary Gensler wait to the last day to say, "Oh, no problem. Let's go ahead and just move forward and accept this spot ETF"? No, that's not the play here. He is delaying every second, every minute, everything he can do as long as he can when it comes to spot ETFs. He's waiting to the last day to say appeal.
Okay.
It's just he's done it before, he's going to do it again.
And what if you're wrong, Tim? What if he isn't? What's the upside? What's the upside?
And I'll
Bitcoin?
change my name to Michael Jackson.
Really?
On the show, and people have to refer to me as Michael Jackson. I don't know. That's a lot. I don't know if I want to go on Michael Jackson.
I think there's a decent. I think there's a bigger chance than not that they will appeal. I think they'll appeal. Gosh, I said that most complicated way possible. But I do think that there's a chance they don't.
With any good gentleman's wager, if I'm going to take some sort of punishment for it not happening, who's taking the punishment for when it does? So when
Michael
there
Jackson.
is an appeal, who's going to take that? Punishment. If I have to accept one for being wrong on my end, I need a counter offer from somebody else.
Put something in the chat, guys. We've got more stories to cover. Tim will keep his eye on it. We've got more stories though. We'll go to the most salacious first. Actually, before we do that, because this next one is actually important. CPI. We're going to drill in a little bit. We won't spend too much time because I know that Tim's in more of a whimsical mood rather than an analytic mood.
But, I mean, we're going to talk crypto. We just are going to have fun doing it. It's a fun day. Yeah. Today's for funness.
It is. While CPI inflation is at 3.7, inflation is a little redundant, is much higher in it's not. In many basic necessities. Car insurance, I can attest to this one. Now, you might be seeing why I brought this up. It is insane. It went from like $460 to $577 for 6-month chunks of car insurance.
Okay.
It's insane. That's insane. Car repair inflation, transportation, rent inflation, all of these up more than 5%, except meat and poultry, just below 5. So with headline inflation being down from its highs, many basic necessities are still seeing 5% or more inflation. It's also worth noting that we do not have deflation; we have disinflation, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow Caleb Franzen, that's made very clear to you on a
he
daily
uses that word
basis.
all the time. Yeah.
While the rate of inflation is down, prices are still rising. Affordability is still getting worse. Drop a 1 in chat if you felt the brunt of price inflation here in these United States, not a democracy. So, Tim, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, do you have any or what?
Yeah, no. So we've been saying this. My thoughts have been made pretty clear beforehand. There's a difference between an actual recession and an on-paper recession. There's difference between actual inflation and statistical inflation. And what we have going on is every single person like you, me, and our mothers, T-Shroom, is getting bent over and just destroyed at the moment. And I don't want to put that any more graphically. Probably went too far with that as it was. But that's the reality, is everything is getting more expensive. Our dollar is getting less valuable every single day. But what we have is we have a government entity working to try to make everything on paper look okay. So they will look for every short step they can to give these numbers as low a rates as possible, so that the sheep will believe that the current administration is doing a good job. I actually made a video today that will be going out on Discover Crypto sometime next week about the pivot. And I've said this on here before, so you guys aren't going to be surprised by this detail of it. But I'm of the belief, T-Shroom, that Jerome Powell, probably one of the people with the greatest ability to keep a technical recession from happening and keep the sheep happy so that Joe Biden can continue to talk about Bidenomics and deny where our country is really going. It's of his interest to get Joe Biden reelected, because Republicans have pretty much said, Jay Powell, the day that a Republican is in office again, your job is gone. Joe Biden will keep him. So he's doing a little bit of job protection here. He's making sure that numbers look in a way that Joe Biden can use them on the campaign trail, I guess is the best way to put it. When in reality, it all sucks. You're laughing at a lot. What's happening over there in the art gallery?
There's a lot of giggling NFTs. Yeah, no, there's some back and forth between Eric Wallen and crypto trades, which
that's always good.
Just use your imagination of some of the things you've said recently. But no, Tim, that's absolutely true. I mean, it adds up. It adds up, right? Jerome wants to keep his job, which I don't know why. I would want to be getting the heck out of there. But here we go. We got a couple more stories here. Senator Bob Menendez charged with acting as agent of Egypt in superseding indictment. The indictment marks the latest federal criminal accusation against Menendez. Longtime New Jersey lawmaker and his wife are previously indicted in New York, facing charges. So basically, he was an agent of a foreign sovereign, which is pretty intense. And it kind of makes you think how many other politicians are completely sold out to foreign governments. Egypt is kind of one that you wouldn't even think is necessarily doing that. You'd think maybe like a China, Russia, maybe a UK or Mexico or something like that. But what dealings does Egypt have? Well, everything. Every country trades, right? You just look at what is the top 3 imports and exports of Egypt, right? Those industries have a lot of say, and they have every incentive to have people in Washington pulling the strings to make their industries favored. I'm just going to pull one out of my hat. Probably oil, right? I don't know how much oil Egypt makes, but if I'm an Egyptian politician or Egyptian representative for the oil industry, I have every incentive to try to have somebody in Washington making sure that the United States is buying my oil, right? Has some kind of incentive, right? Now, that's an example. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but just trying to provide a little bit of context of how corrupt our government is. Like people talk about it, but it's real. and now it's being brought to the surface, and this is nice to see that a little bit of justice is being paid. The real question is, though, what did this guy do wrong for the establishment to out him like this? Because I'm sure he's not the only one.
Yeah, so. I mean, sounds like this dude it was time for a job. This is the same guy who was accepting gold and now kind of working with Egypt. And there's a lot of stuff out there. I'm not going to get into that kind of mess because that's another rabbit hole of stuff that I am very not educated on. I've just heard things that could be very, especially in our day and age right now, what we're going through, that could be very testy. It is very hard, T-Shroom. I now feel you. When I'm doing charts and stuff and you have to read chat, especially when you have to read crypto trades,
and Eric Wallen.
And Eric Wallen.
And now Gia's getting in on it. She said, "Don't make me laugh so much at work."
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you at work? Just be rich.
She's got to pay for that human broker somehow.
Yeah,
T-shirt.
That's true.
Goodness.
People are just figuring out our government is corrupt, ? Says GS. Yeah. You'd like to think that it's not, but this is so. I mean, we're not going to talk about this at length, but this is the reason that I chose that. I did not choose anything. This is the reason that the Factoid Elf chose, because I told the Factoid Elf that today we're going to have a little bit more political themes than usual.
Did you just...
Nothing. You have seen and you've heard nothing.
Telling me...
Why don't we take a look at the Dixon?
You have a more intimate relationship with this elf than we thought?
No. No. Goodness gracious. Let the record show that whatever Tim just said is arbitrary and capricious. Steve Scalise does not appear to have votes to become Speaker of the House as GOP remains divided. This is good news for crypto. I don't have anything against Steve Scalise, to be honest with, other than he's a politician. Jim Jordan, who had Trump's backing, has come out in support of Scalise and is encouraging Republicans to vote for him, which means Jim Jordan, the only other contender other than our two crypto heroes, Emmers and McHenry, right? So those are the guys, it seems, with this headline that are now in the lead. Two guys who would bring down Gary Gensler. So that's bullish. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about this. I mean, it's definitely not a done deal, but Steve Scalise doesn't have the votes to be Speaker. Good. And Jim Jordan's like, nah, I'm going to go with Scalise for some reason. Who knows? You know, it could the price of Bitcoin be in the fate of Jim Jordan's hands?
I'm really hoping somehow Patrick, my good old Patrick McHenry.
Patrick McHenry
gets them votes. Emmers is good too. I don't have a problem.
I would take Emmers in a heartbeat.
Well, I like the bow ties. We need more bow ties from our speaker. Also, did you see the video of him using the gavel? When was the last time you saw that good of a gavel use from some of our famous politicians? We need more of that.
Yes.
Well, speaking of what we need more of, guys, we had 81 people in chat, and I don't even know what is our like count at. 47? We're just above 50%. Why are you guys not smashing the like button at a much higher frequency? Go ahead and smash the like button. And we also need more Q&A. Yeah. Need some more good Q&A from you guys. What are you guys wanting to know about? What topics you want to talk about? What charts do you want to look at? Again, we're having fun today. By the way, we also have our bro time for our gold members right after this. So make sure you guys, if you are a gold member, you're there. That is going to be in Discord. If you want to become a gold member, again, you think today's show has been fun? Maybe some of you don't.
The call of the chair.
Oh,
don't worry.
There we go.
Get
Do it
again.
again.
The House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Look at that hit. Yes. You're in the way. I'll play it one more time.
Move me out of the way and let's do it again.
Oh, this Wall Street Journal. Don't go to an ad. I swear if it goes to an ad. All right, Tim.
Well,
you're out of here. Oh, now it's loading.
Okay.
Oh man.
Let's see what we have here. AZTV in. Okay. Brother Shroom and Brother Tim. 11 to 14K Bitcoin. Then we shall make halal profits only when the haram coins go to 0. Okay. I disagree about 11 to 14. Yeah, I don't think we're going. I think I think almost worst case scenario to me at this point is a double bottom at 15.5. Don't see that happening. I think before that, 17 looks really interesting. 17.5 looks really interesting. Of course, you guys know me, not that lower, that 19.3 of the head and shoulders that fills the gap is interesting. And then, of course, there's a lot of interesting levels higher than that. 21.5 is very interesting. A lot of interesting spots, but I don't see 11 to 14 AZTV. I do apologize. Matt says, is bro time no longer in Discord channel stage? Today's, Matt. See, I was saying that when T-Shirt brought up this great clip that we're going to play in a second. Bro time for gold members right after this in Discord in our gold members only section. So if you want to become a gold member,
House in recess subject to the call of the chair.
Dang. What's funny is that I'm sorry, Tim. I interrupted you, but I had to.
It felt like it was on purpose.
Crux of Crypto said that he thought it was a gunshot. He said he ducked. I don't doubt.
Yeah,
it's really loud.
The chair declares the House in recess
a good gavel
subject
slap.
to the call of the chair.
I like it. It's hard to beat that.
That was like a man, and this is what I feel bad about. Maybe he thought he wasn't ever going to get the opportunity ever again, so he's like, I got to make this one count.
Yeah, there's probably some inside joke humor about gavel hitting within the good folks there in the congressional world.
Yeah.
Guys, there's a lot going on in crypto, just not today.
It's not today. Well, prices are going down today, but there's not a lot of news to cover today. And then charts. And I feel like we've covered all the charts that have been asked. We only have a mere 8 minutes left. If there's any other charts you guys want us to check on out, we can do that. If you guys want to talk about other stories, we haven't talked at all about marriage today, T-Shroom. That's a rarity. Weddings and all. C90 for the win said the gavel tap is exactly how I kill spiders in my house. Yeah. Taylor the other day, my wife,
not me,
saw a roach on the window and threw a box at it. And I'm very surprised the window didn't break. There must be storm windows or something. But I was like, what part of you thought that throwing a box, a heavy, like probably a 2-pound box, at the window and she admitted, she's like, I don't know. I just saw a roach and thought I had to do it. So I definitely understand that aggressiveness towards spiders. My wife has that aggressiveness towards roaches. Solana, please, says French Toaster. You know what? Especially since you asked so nicely, we will do it. Solana, guys, is one of the ones that is dipping a little harsher. It was one of the top losers in the CoinMarketCap 24/7. We are moving to the downside for the sure. Let's take a look at oscillators. We are getting a buy signal here over the green histograms are starting to kind of swoop on in here from MVP. We're getting another oversold. Now, we ignored the last one, so let's see what we do with this one. Does that technically... is that bullish divergence? Yeah, it is bullish divergence. So if we start forming green candles, you do have to have some green candles to confirm divergence. But if we can get some green candles here, that is bullish divergence on the 4-hour chart for good old Solana. Let's see what the hourly chart is saying for it. A lot of sideways action. Definitely going to have bullish divergence here as well. You can just already tell. But we're not. Okay, hourly chart just ignoring these bullish signals. So not a good sign for Solana. Let's take a look at some other indicators and see if that helps at all. Lost the 4-hour dynamic reactor. Do have lower to go. So, guys, I think I told you guys yesterday, watch out for $20 or lower. Keep your eyes. Ooh, let's take a look at a couple things. T-Shim, you sound like you have something that
I do. I've got something
to slip
cooking
out with. Ooh, on Solana?
No, well, kind of. I have something cooking that I want to share with our audience.
Is it meat of any type?
Meat?
Like steaks or sausages?
It involves flames. All right, here we go. Here we go, Tim. I'm gonna lay this out. So we have were you done with your Solana TA?
No, I wasn't. So
wrap it up. 2 minutes.
Okay. And then you'll cook me steak?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was going to say, guys, keep an eye around $20 for Solana. Golden pocket kind of coming in right there along with that green band. Let's even take a look, kind of swoop it out some larger time frames. I want to get rid of this. Let's get rid of my oscillators as well because I want to do fixed range volume profile, but I want to see how far back I want to go. Let's take a look here. Let's actually go all the way back. We'll go back all the way to the dip. Give it some extra juice.
Smash the likes.
Point of control sitting right here, right below us, but we definitely can wick below that. But yeah, definitely coming back, and we're getting closer to some support levels of this fall, but we do have further to go. So if you are looking for a long, or you're wanting to acquire more Solana, I do think the charts are pretty heavily suggesting we definitely, at least in the short time frame, have a little more to go before a bounce happens. But you guys know I also think, as a whole, I am not looking for any long positions. I'm not looking for any buys right now, because I do think the space as a whole, maybe with the exception of WMT, World Mobile Token, that one is having a very bullish last couple of days, weeks. Almost everything else is going to be setting some going lower. Some coins will hit new lows, some will double bottom, but there will definitely be good buying opportunities coming your way very, very soon. Solana included. All right, that's the end of my Solana TA. T-Shroom, tell us what you're cooking.
Okay, let me just dive right on into it here. Mm-hmm. So the 2024 Olympics are in Paris, and during this time, Bitcoin will probably be popping off quite a bit, maybe 30,000, 40,000, hopefully north of 30,000 by then. I don't know I think it's June, so it's summer of 2024. What if we organized a Olympics takeover, and we all went to, like, you know how we have crypto conventions, and like it's fun, like in Miami and different places. What if we just organized an international crashing, like how people crash weddings? We just crash the Olympics. Crypto takes over the Olympics, and we just go and we do like tons of like on the street vlogs and stuff, and maybe we go to a couple competitions or whatever. But
so when you say crash, you just mean attend the Olympics?
We attend, and we're loud and we're rambunctious, and we're trying to orange pill as many people as we can. It's in Paris, right? A very laissez-faire, unless you do certain things you don't like. But what do you think? What do you think, Tim? What do you think, chat? Is this a terrible idea? I mean, how much could it be? Like, you're not actually going to the Olympics. You're just going to like the area around it. I mean, the flights probably are subsidized because they do that. They're cheap. They're probably going to be like a little bit less than $1,000, like maybe as low as $500 if you can get them around now. What do you think, Tim?
This is what you wanted to interrupt Solana TA for?
You don't think it's a good idea?
You just want to attend the Olympics?
Okay, so here's another thing too. It's like there's a lot of leaders, international leaders that go to these Olympics. And just imagine if there was just a bunch of loud crypto YouTubers that were there saying, look at Bitcoin, it's really going up.
That's what we're going to say.
Buy it. You should buy it. Yeah.
We're going to say, look at Bitcoin, it's really going up. And that's going to catch the attention of very powerful, wealthy people that will orange pill them.
Yes. Because at the time it will be true, and people will be freaking out about it. And we'll just be constantly on international sports television, and people will be very excited. You can try Most Normies Don't Care About Bitcoin, said AZTV. Gia said, I think you should sell tickets and stream your wedding, T-Shroom. Yes, also a possibility. Also something I have cooking up. Matt C said, I love the Olympics. So he probably wouldn't be interested. I did enjoy Tim's street interviews a while back and need more. See, that was actually one of my main motivations for this. Is Tim is, as a secret weapon, he is really good at the man on the street interviews, because he's both a man and occasionally he'll be.
I see streets from time to time.
He'll be on the streets. He has a lot of experience
in the streets.
And that is a good thing.
Well, we should rewind that. Let's cut that part out of the show.
There's nothing wrong with being in the streets. Go be in the streets.
I don't like the phrase out. I think that could mean something else.
That's okay. I think we've said worse today on today's show. But yeah,
not wrong.
So there's all kinds of fun that could be had, and I think we should start having some conversations. You see what Crypto Billy, see what Piper think.
Yeah.
And then we're all in Paris for the summer next year, celebrating.
Hey,
it's only a week and a half, I think, right? Usually the Olympics, or is it months? Is it the whole month?
If you get Army Piper to fund this endeavor, I'm so game.
Well, I think that there's maybe some interested parties that would fund it too. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's some folks that we know who may pay for this type of a thing to take place. Some loud pro crypto individuals at one of the biggest international events.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be interesting. Well, T-Shroom, you know what time it is?
Game time.
It's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock is the time.
Oh yeah, so it's bro time. We got to slide on into the Discord.
We do have to go ahead and wrap up the stream, but thank you to every single one of you guys who came in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. It was definitely fun. Had a lot of laughs and giggles, and talk crypto as well. But go ahead and smash that like button on the way out if you have not already. And if you are new here and you made it all the way to this point, why not go ahead and subscribe to the channel? That would be awesome. Guys, we're about to jump into our bro time, but all of you guys, you know, as our closing thoughts of the day, go have fun today. If you have not had fun in a while, go relax and have some fun. If you're all serious, listen, you work hard so that you can play hard. So if you never play hard, what's the point of working hard? You know what I mean?
There's not one.
Go have some fun. Go have some fun, relax, enjoy life, because I was this actually getting serious. I saw a great quote that was like, a lot of people waste their entire life because at every moment they are thinking about what they're going to do in the future. So they deny themselves of living in the past or the future at all times. And they never they never appreciate what they're currently doing. And it's like, that's so true. Okay. Every stage of our life, we're always like, what's next? What's next? What's next? I wish I could go do this. And so when you constantly live in the future, you can't live in the future. You have to live in the present. But when you try to live in the future, you end up living in neither. And that's a terrible life. Don't do it. Go have fun right now. Live in the present. That was
so well said, Tim.
T-shirt, so well, I'm full of good, said things.
All right, let's go jump in the Discord.
Let's do it. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.